By the end of November 2025, US companies had announced more than 1.1 million job cuts for the year, the highest annual total since the pandemic. One of the largest waves of layoff announcements in 2 decades, and yet the official unemployment rate is sitting at 4.4%. If those two numbers do not make sense together, they should not, because one of them is not telling you the full story. This is part of our collapse series. By the end of this video, you will understand exactly what is being left out of the official narrative, why the layoffs making headlines are only half of what is actually happening, and why millions of employed Americans are losing ground financially without a single headline being written about it. Stay with me. Part 1, the number they show you is wrong. The official unemployment rate, the one that shows up in every headline, is called U3. It measures people who are actively looking for work and cannot find it. By that measure, 4.4% sounds manageable. It sounds like a healthy labor market. It is not the full picture. The broader measure, called U6, includes people stuck in part-time jobs despite wanting full-time work, plus those who have given up searching entirely. That number sits near 8%. Almost double the headline figure. 8% represents a very different labor market than 4.4. One where millions of people are technically employed, but financially unable to keep up with the cost of living around them. The labor force participation rate adds another layer. At 62.4%, a significant share of working-age adults are not counted in any unemployment statistic because they have stopped looking altogether. Some burned through savings during long job searches. Others faced repeated rejections and quietly stepped back. They do not show up in the data, but their absence communicates something the headline number does not. Private payroll data confirms what the official figures understate. In November, the private sector unexpectedly lost 32,000 jobs, according to ADP, an outcome that directly contradicts the narrative of steady growth. The official numbers are not lying. They are just measuring something narrower than the experience millions of people are actually living. And that gap between what gets measured and what gets felt is the story that almost nobody is telling clearly. Part 2, the layoffs nobody is reporting. The public layoff announcements, 10,000 jobs here, 20,000 there, create the illusion that job losses are well documented and predictable. They are not. Beneath those public disclosures is a second, much larger layer of job losses that never makes it onto any official report. And for many workers, these invisible cuts are the ones hitting hardest. The biggest blind spot is contractors, gig workers, and temp staff. When these roles disappear, they rarely require formal notices or public filings. A warehouse cuts 200 contractors. A retailer slashes holiday hours and never replaces seasonal workers. A tech company reduces a dozen outsourced teams. None of this shows up in layoff statistics. The economic impact is immediate and severe for the people involved, but the system treats it as if it never happened. Then there are performance exits. Companies increase performance thresholds, impose unrealistic metrics, or restructure roles so they become nearly impossible to perform at the level required. Workers pushed out this way lose their jobs, but the company does not have to report a layoff. The headcount reduction happens. The accountability does not. Holiday and seasonal employment, historically a safety net for millions of Americans, has weakened dramatically. Retail job openings fell more than 22% compared to the previous year. The sharpest single-year drop since the aftermath of the financial crisis. Some stores skipped seasonal hiring entirely. Others offered minimal hours to existing staff. For families who rely on holiday work to cover year-end expenses, a reliable opportunity became a dead end with almost no warning. When you combine these hidden reductions with publicly announced cuts, the actual scale of workforce contraction is far larger than most people realize. Part 3, why profitable companies keep cutting. The instinct is to assume layoffs mean a company is struggling. That assumption no longer holds. The clearest evidence came earlier this year when UPS announced tens of thousands of job cuts. On the same day, its stock price jumped more than 10%. Investors did not interpret the layoffs as a sign of weakness. They interpreted them as discipline. The same pattern appeared across Amazon, Verizon, GM, and other major employers. Cut workers, watch the stock rise. This is not a coincidence. It is a structural incentive built into how executives are compensated. Many CEOs receive bonuses tied directly to stock performance. That creates a built-in motivation to reduce labor costs aggressively, even when the company is already profitable. Cutting high-salary employees, freezing hiring, or converting permanent roles into contract positions all push margins higher, and shareholder approval tends to follow. AI accelerates this logic. Automation allows companies to reduce staffing without sacrificing output. Layoffs that might have taken years to justify now happen preemptively. Under the assumption that technology will eventually fill the gaps, the decision gets made before the business need actually disappears. For workers, this creates a disorienting reality. Job security is no longer tied to company performance. A business can be growing, profitable, and actively cutting its workforce at the same time. Those are no longer contradictions. They are the new operating logic of corporate America. And once you understand that logic, the pattern stops being confusing and starts being predictable, which is exactly the position you want to be in. Part 4. Two groups getting crushed differently. The pressure in this labor market does not fall evenly. Two groups are absorbing the most damage, and they are on opposite ends of the career spectrum. For new graduates, the path that was supposed to be straightforward has quietly collapsed. A degree once acted as a reliable entry point into stable employment. That reliability is gone. Entry-level positions are disappearing as companies choose automation over training. Hiring freezes hit junior openings first because it is easier to delay growth than dismantle existing teams. The result is thousands of graduates sending applications for positions that do not actually exist and competing with experienced candidates who have been displaced from higher-level roles and are now applying downward. The scale of this mismatch is clearest when you look outside the US. In the United Kingdom, more than 1.2 million recent graduates are currently competing for roughly 17,000 available jobs in their fields. A ratio so extreme, it is almost impossible to absorb. The United States has not reached that level of imbalance, but the direction is unmistakably similar. Too many qualified applicants, too few career track roles, and starting salaries moving down, not up, as competition intensifies. Workers over 40 face a completely different set of obstacles. Modern recruiting software has become a major invisible barrier. Many platforms automatically filter applicants, using algorithms that flag employment gaps, outdated job titles, or age-associated patterns in resumes. In documented cases, lawsuits have been filed, alleging these systems disproportionately screen out workers over 40 before a human reviewer ever sees the application. The rejection is not recorded. The candidate simply disappears from the process. Financial pressure compounds the problem. A large portion of workers in this age range cannot stop working, even when the market makes it extremely difficult to continue. When layoffs hit, they face the dual burden of urgently needing employment while navigating a system increasingly structured to filter them out. Longer job searches, lower reemployment rates, and in many cases, forced early retirement without financial readiness to support it. Part 5. Employed, but losing ground. For the workers who kept their jobs, the pressure has not gone away. It just changed form. On paper, wages have risen modestly. Adjusted for inflation, real earnings have barely moved. And in many households, they have slipped backward. The cost of rent, insurance, groceries, and essential services has climbed faster than paychecks. Holding a job no longer guarantees stability. For a growing number of Americans, it is simply not enough. This is where the U6 underemployment figure becomes personal. Workers who want full-time employment but can only secure part-time or temporary roles count as employed in every official statistic. Their financial reality tells a different story. As wages lag behind inflation, more workers are turning to second and third jobs, not as ambition, but as necessity. Side gigs, weekend shifts, and overnight part-time work have become standard survival strategies. And employers know this. When companies understand that their workforce is financially stretched, they gain leverage, making it easier to freeze wages, reduce hours, or offer lower starting salaries. Workers in that position feel they have no real choice but to accept. The power dynamic that briefly shifted toward employees during the Great Resignation has reversed. Companies are no longer competing for workers. They are choosing from an anxious pool of candidates who know the alternative is worse. Consumer sentiment reflects this reality directly. Surveys consistently show Americans feel less optimistic about their financial future, even when employment numbers appear stable. They are not reacting emotionally. They are responding to a pattern they experience every month: higher costs, fewer full-time opportunities, and more financial risk in decisions that used to feel routine. The data says resilient. The experience says fragile. Both are describing the same labor market from different angles, and only one of them is accurate for the person trying to pay rent this month. The US job market is not collapsing, but it is tightening in ways that the official data was never designed to measure. More than 1.1 million job cuts announced in a single year. A true unemployment rate, nearly double the headline figure. Hidden layoffs in contractor and gig populations that never appear in any report. Performance exits that eliminate jobs without recording them. Holiday hiring down 22%. Entry-level roles disappearing. Workers over 40 filtered out before a human sees their resume. And millions of employed people working multiple jobs just to stay in place financially. Every single one of these things is happening right now. Most of them are not in any headline. None of this fits the narrative of a resilient labor market, but all of it is happening simultaneously, and has been for months. The people navigating this most effectively are not the ones waiting for conditions to return to what they were. They are the ones who recognized early that the rules changed. that a single job with a single employer is no longer the definition of stability it once was, and that building flexibility into your income and career structure is not optional preparation for an uncertain future. It is the only preparation that makes sense, given what the data is actually showing. The official reports will continue to describe a labor market that is holding steady. What they will not tell you is what 1.1 million job cuts in a year actually feels like from the inside. If you want to keep seeing that gap explained clearly, subscribe to Next Gen Finance. Every week, we break down what the labor market data is actually showing for workers in the income range most affected by these shifts. And right now in the comments, what part of this surprised you the most? Drop it below. I read every single one. The next video in this series is already on your screen. I will see you there.